Shalom, family. This is Yuda Yasharel. They have eyes, but they cannot see. If you're wondering why our people argue over scriptures, denying the purpose of the new moon, and much more, why do they argue that books removed from the holy book are fake? Why is it so hard for us to realize we have enemies that wish to destroy us? Listen to Psalms 83 and 4. They have said, "Come, and let us destroy them out of the nation, and let the name of Israel be remembered no more at all." That's total annihilation. That's what they want to do to us. Now, when you have people like that hating you so much that they want to completely eliminate you, completely annihilate you from the memory of the entire world, how do you bring yourself to trust anything those people say? Now, if they desperately want us eliminated, and they do, what makes you think they will put limits on how far they would be willing to go to achieve their goal? This agenda goes as far back as Adam and Eve. Do you dare think that they gave up on this agenda? When these books were written, it exposed their true nature and their source of creation. They have been trying extremely hard to keep their true nature hidden from us while also hiding our truth of who we are. They know that if we as a people of the book would ever discover exactly who we are, it would be game over for them. That's why they manipulate us into sin by serving us false information. They write books. The Most High calls them fables. These books, or fables, they write include many encyclopedias, Bible translations, and dictionaries, and so forth, to guide our thoughts and belief system. These people are extremely clever. They've been at this a long time. Do not ever underestimate the most clever beast of the field. This beast used some of our elders to help them write this book called the New Testament, along with the Roman Flavians and the Pisos. The Roman Flavians and the Pisos, intelligently written using truth mixed with lies that they copied and pasted from the Torah and injected it into the story of a man who never existed called Jesus. They created the prophecies in the New Testament centuries ago and instructed their generations to carry out this master plan unto this very day. Do y'all know that they are still doing this right now? Their agenda is thousands of years old, and they train their children to pick up where they left off. Our people can't think on that level. Most of us can't imagine a person being that meticulous. But that's them. That's what they do. And the whole purpose is not so much for them to gain political power or power itself. They want to wipe us out. So they cannot be honest. They can't tell you who they are, even though we're figuring all that out. And even though some of our people are figuring this out, it's funny how still they can't let go of that manipulated Stockholm syndrome. Since they are the authors of this New Testament and its prophecies, they have all the financial resources to make sure it all comes to pass. Believe it or not, y'all, you got to wake up. You're underestimating these creatures. They was around long before you, and the spirit of those that influenced them dates all the way back to the beginning, to the fall of the angels, the fallen ones. These same spirits are still here today, and they influence the thoughts of these creatures that call themselves man. Their thoughts are influenced by evil and wicked spirits. And that agenda that they started with, it still exists and it's still effective. They have not quit. So yeah, they have all the financial resources to make sure all of this comes to pass. That's so that you will believe. It's more convincing when you see something in the book of Revelation, and then you look out in the world, and then you see what looks like that prophecy is coming to pass. Yes, they wrote it. It's a play-by-play book for them. They have the money to make it happen when they want it to happen, just like World War I and World War II. Those two wars did not happen coincidentally. There was a few people, Albert Pike and another couple of people, I can't bring their names to my mind right now, but they orchestrated these two wars. And they went as far as to predict, and their prediction came to pass exactly when they said it would and how they said it would. So now they're doing the same thing with this New Testament. And it's just flying right over your head. You don't see it. So why is it our people just can't believe this? Why do we not stop and think back to the scattering of our people in an area around 1619 AD, coming into this strange land under the rulership of people who stole our culture, faith, and our Creator from us and replaced him with their created God, Jesus? Why do we not ask, who were we worshiping before this captivity? Why did they have to teach us Jesus? If Jesus was true, wouldn't we have already had known him? Do you think that if their God that they gave us was true, it would have had to be the same God that we worshiped back in the day? So why would we need to be taught something we already knew? Obviously, we didn't know anything about a Jesus. And why do we call the Torah Old Testament when it's eternal? Why would a perfect creator need to improve on his book? Wouldn't this mean that he was not perfect? I have many questions and answers, but that's another lesson for another time. So what's wrong with so many of our people? And why is it so difficult to wake them up from their slumber? Isaiah, let's listen to what Isaiah says. Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 18. They have not known nor understood, for he hath shut their eyes, that they cannot see, and their hearts, that they cannot understand. That explains the whole 9 yards. That's why it's so hard to wake our people up. That's why it's so hard to show them scripture, and they still want to fight you. That's a sick and twisted mind. But the majority of our people are sick and twisted. Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 10. Make the heart of this people dull and their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and return and be healed. Now, this takes me back to all the lessons that I've done on the new moon, going out of my way, working day and night, digging up information, researching, bringing the truth that have been removed from our people, the truth that we used to go by, the truth we used to follow. And when I bring it, I get all of these, I'm going to call them Christians, coming at me, arguing about there's only 2 new moons per year. The full moon is the new moon. The dark moon is the new moon. And everybody that has come at me debating on the new moon and the Sabbaths, all of them are following a man-made calendar. They're not following the Most High's calendar. They don't have any clue how to study. They read one scripture, one line of verse, and they run with it. They never even consider there's context to that one line of scripture. If you want a full understanding, then you have to go back to the beginning and read the whole chapter and sometimes the whole book so that you can see how this puzzle fits together. It's called context. And I say this a lot in a lot of my videos. I say this all the time. People, when you read, when you study the Bible, when you study the Torah, don't leave the context out. You'll be surprised how much better that story will open up to you if you gather the context and put it with that scripture, and then you can make sense out of it. Without doing that, you will not get a full or complete understanding, and it will leave you confused. Just like this person the other day brought me Ezra chapter 3, verse 5. The minute I read what he sent, I knew he did not bother to go look at the context. Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 9. And he said, go and tell this people, keep on hearing, but do not understand. Keep on seeing, but do not perceive. This is why these people can't hear the scriptures that I bring, or when you yourselves go to try to wake up a friend or a relative. This is why they can't see what you see. This is why they can't hear what you hear. This is why. The one that can hear you, their eyes are open. These eyes are open wide, right? These are the ones that can't hear you. They're alive. They're not dead. They just can't hear you. They can't see you. Ears are closed. Eyes are closed. Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 21. Hear now this, O foolish people. This word foolish, I looked it up. It's also stupid. So let me read it in its context. Hear now this, O stupid people, and without understanding, which have eyes and see not, which have ears and hear not. So this will explain why those that follow this Gregorian calendar cannot hear or see the creation calendar. So let's take a look. Let's take a look. I want you to notice the Gregorian calendar, the year that it starts in January. It's a month that was added, by the way. It has 31 days in it. The biblical calendar months have no less than 29 days and no more than 30. So this day here was added. Let me, this day right here, they added. And in fact, they added this whole month. There was no January. This is what these people are following. Now, I'm trying to make sure I make this as simple as elementary. And you watch. I'm going to get some flack because no matter how simple I make it, they still won't get it. But this is an added month, added by man. This was not the Most High's doing. January, 31 days. When the scripture clearly shows no more than 30, no less than 29. But this is your Gregorian calendar. Now I want you to notice on this left side, these column of numbers, I'm going to show you how you cannot be keeping a true Sabbath if you follow in Gregorian. Notice 1, 8, 15, 22, and 29. All right. Now they are saying, according to man, this is the first month of the year. Well, we know that that can't be possible because that's wintertime. The first month of the year that the Most High established is when all the crop are ripe, all the oats, barley, and corn, everything is ready for harvest. That cannot happen in the wintertime. That's just common sense. That alone should show you there's something wrong with man's calendar. But this is their first month of the year. Now, let's look at the creation calendar. I want you to notice the creation calendar starts during the harvest time, which is between March and April, and it's called the month of Aviv. The fact that in the month of January everything is dead proves Gregorian is not connected to nature. The creation calendar is connected to nature. This is why the ripening of the crop starts in the time the Most High appointed, not in January. Not in January. Which is why it being the first month of the biblical year, the year all the plants are springing to life. Excuse me here. This calendar, the creation calendar, is natural. The Gregorian calendar is unnatural. It's not connected to nature. The Creator's calendar was placed out of man's reach in the heavens. So now y'all remember up here when I showed you, this is the first month of their year. 1, 8, 15, 22, and 29. And it's showing to be on a Sunday. Now, let's look at the creation calendar. On this side, we have 8, 15, 22, and 29. So the first month of the year only has 29 days. So what is going on up here? We're 2 days different. We're 2 days different. And we're 3 months off. Oh, and you notice the 8, 15, 22, and 29 is on the left side. Eight, 15, 22, and 29 is on the right side. Okay? Theirs is on the left side, The Most High is on the right side. Now, this right here is when the new moon showed. This is the first day of the month. The month and the weeks serve two different purposes. Keep that in mind. This is the first day of the month. Then the next day, day 1, is the first day of the week. 9th is the second day of the week. This is the third day of the week. And this is the fourth day of the week. Now let's count from the first day of the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's your 7th day. Now let's go up here to the Gregorian calendar. They saying this is the first day of the week. So where's the first day of the month? You would have to manipulate this calendar to make it work out to where you had a first day of the month. But let's just see. This is how they do it. Every single month on Gregorian, this is your rotation. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This is where they call their 7th day. So, if this was their 7th day, then the new moon should have showed up here. Why are the dates of the new moon over here? Do y'all see the problem here? Now let's look at the creation calendar. You have a set of weeks, 4 of them. You have 4 weeks of 7 days. These days are not named, they are numbered. So, if we go by the Gregorian calendar, today would be the 5th. That would be the 5th day of the Gregorian month. Now let's go down here. Our new moon showed up on Sunday. Their so-called Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We would be here. This is where we are. This is where they are, the 5th. Do you see the gap here? It's not consistent. And every month, their calendar is going to look like this. And every week, they're going to fall on a Friday. What about the other 6 days the Most High created? Are they not important? Did he just discard them and put them to the side because Saturday was the only special day? No. Each one of these days, these are not the way the Most High put it together. But each day the Most High created was important. Every single one of them was important. So when you follow the creation calendar, it's going to look exactly like this every month, with the exception that some months will have 30 days instead of 29. But this column will not change. It will not change. But the day that it falls on will change, depending on when the new moon shows. So that way, as perfect as the Most High is, every single day that he created gets an equal chance to celebrate itself being a Sabbath day. Now, when they put the names to these days, that threw everything off. Because once you put names on these days, you have to keep them in that order. But if you number the days, there is no particular order. It's all dictated by the new moon. Or should I say, by the Most High himself. This calendar is dictated and orchestrated by the Most High himself. This one is controlled by man. So if you understand your Torah, then you would know that in the first month of the year is harvest time. When have anyone ever witnessed harvest in the winter? As we see by the creation calendar, it is the month of Nisan or Aviv, which would be between the last 2 weeks of March, depending on the cycle of the new moon, and the first 2 weeks in April. According to the Gregorian calendar, it is now January, wintertime. There cannot be a harvest during this period because everything is dead. Go out in the wintertime and plant a garden and see what happens. And then wait till the spring and plant and see what happens. Now remember, the creation calendar cycles every 29 and a half days, meaning it stops at the end of a cycle and starts new. And it's connected to nature, where the Gregorian calendar is a continual endeavor which never cycles and is not connected to nature because it's man-made. The Most High knew man would think to change his laws, which is why he put his calendar in the heavens where man could not interfere with it. Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 20. And hallow my Sabbaths, and let them be a sign between me and you. What does that mean? A sign between him and us. That means that if you are following his calendar, then you are keeping his feast days. Because the seasons are all set in the creation calendar, not in the Gregorian. So that means by you keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, then he acknowledges you as his people. You belong to him. If you're keeping Gregorian calendar, you belong to Lucifer. The Most High has nothing to do with you, and you nothing to do with him. And hallow my Sabbath, and let them be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am the Most High, your Creator. This is how his people are identified from the unbelievers. The Most High will come only for those who wear the Sabbath badge. All others will be discarded. Exodus chapter 31 and verse 14. And ye shall keep the Sabbaths, and ye shall keep the Sabbaths, because this is holy unto the Creator for you. He that profanes it shall surely be put to death. Everyone who shall do a work on it, that soul shall be destroyed from the midst of his people. So if you're not keeping the correct Sabbath, you are guilty of profaning his holy day, which is a set-apart day. Keeping the Gregorian is set apart from the Creator. We are supposed to be separated from man's tradition, not joined to it. Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 12. And I gave them my Sabbaths, that they should be for a sign between me and them, that they should know that I am the Most High, that sanctify them. So now that we know there are two sets of calendars, the Most High's calendar set in the heavens and man's calendars in his traditions. Ezekiel 22 and verse 8. Thou hast despised mine holy things and hast profaned my Sabbath. You know what? Listen, and I may be talking to a brick wall. And I don't mean that directed toward the subscribers on this channel. You guys, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what's happening. I'm talking to those potential Israelites that are still stuck in Stockholm syndrome and the world of make-believe. I'm talking to you. He's telling you what you're doing right now is despising his holy things, and you are profaning his Sabbaths. The Most High established the weekly cycle at creation. Let me read that again. The Most High established the weekly cycle at creation. He also established the months. The Most High's biblical months begins with the first sighting of the sliver of the new moon. For just as the new heavens and the new earth, which I make endure before me, declares the Most High, so your offspring and your name will endure. And it shall be from new moon, which is month. This simply means, new moon means new month. From new moon to new moon, and from Sabbath to Sabbath. Did you notice that new moon came first and then Sabbath? This is why I tell my people all the time, when you study, do not take those little words for granted. Look at them, study them, inspect them, investigate them. There's a lot of clues in the most simple little words in this book. They are your friends. And get the context. The reason he put the new moon first is because it has to come first before the Sabbath. Because after the new moon shows up, then the Sabbath is next. The new moon is just telling you this is the day that the Sabbath is going to be on. So you go to the next day after the new moon shows, and you count from that day to 7 days, and you will count on the 8th day of the biblical month, which is 7 days from first day of the week. That is your 7th day. Not your 7th Saturday. It is your 7th day. You see, the Gregorian keeps the 7th Saturday, and they call it the 7th day. So they mix their name in with the Most High number. So he says from new moon to new moon, and from Sabbath to Sabbath. And notice the new moon comes first, and then the Sabbath. Week to week. What does that mean? Once you spot the new moon, you count the next day. You have 4 sets of 7. That's your 4 weeks. That's why you say week to week. All mankind will come bow down before me, says the Most High. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 22 and 23. The Most High established the lights in the heavens to be signs for the Modim, which are his appointed times, and for days and years. Then the Most High said, let there be lights in the heavens, and let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and years. Those signs for seasons, those are your feast days. Genesis chapter 1 and 14 says, in this passage, the word season is the word modim. In the Hebrew language, it means appointed times. So we can look up at the new moon to know when the Most High's biblical month begins. His month begins when the first sliver of the new moon is seen in the sky. The first sliver is a very thin sliver of light, or crescent moon, that declares when the Most High's month begins. It's fun to go outside each month at sunset, and we do it all the time, and look up in the sky to see if you can see the first sliver of the new moon when it appears. The scripture says the heavens are telling of the glory of the Most High. Listen to this, y'all. The heavens are telling of the glory of the Most High. That's why everything is up there, not down here. Their expanse is declaring the work of his hands. Listen to Psalms 19 and verse 1. The Most High made the moon to be in the sky to declare when the appointed times are going to be. Do y'all really get that? The Most High made the moon to be in the sky to declare when the appointed times, your feast days, your Sabbaths, are going to be. He made the moon for the seasons. Look at Psalms 104:19. That's where this is. You can find that in Psalms 104:19. Now I ask, what's keeping our people from seeing our Creator's calendar? Their eyes have been shut. They have been cut off from the Creator. This is why no matter how well you present Scripture, they just cannot see the reality. Isaiah tells us why. Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 18. They have not known nor understood, for he has shut their eyes that they cannot see, and their hearts that they cannot understand. So some of you probably asking, well, why did he shut their eyes? I'll tell you why. Because they rejected him one time too many. So you need to be careful that you don't make that same mistake. This is your chance to open up and accept the Most High as the true and one and only Creator. Let that other bullcrap go, or your eyes will be shut. Shalom.